Welcome back to another episode of Mugwort's Art Craft on YouTube. Today I'm going to show you a really cool effect to get on plates and mugs using sandstone from Mayco layered on top of any of your favorite glazes. It's a really fun and creative tutorial, so I hope you enjoy. If you haven't been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will be posting more tutorials as my kids go to school and I will have much more time to do pottery. I started out these plates with Mayco Stoneware Lavender Mist. I find the best way to do this is shake it up and just pour it in a circle and let all of it drip down and soak into each plate. It's a nice loose process and it's really fun to just kind of let go. Continue on to each plate, thinking about how much purple you want to have or whatever color, and leave space for the rest of them unless you want to go ahead and try layering other colors on top to see what effects you get. You cover all your plates with swirls of your first color. I go ahead and tip the plates around to kind of just smear out the drippy areas so it's not too heavy in certain areas because you will be adding more glazes, so you don't want to get it too thick and have it start crazing once you get it out of the kiln. You will see in my last layer of colored glaze, I actually use my finger to kind of spread it around, and if you want to increase the speed of your process, you can probably do that here too. But I found that this turned out really cool, and I'll probably be doing this again for more plates to come. I am also very impatient when it comes to drying, so you'll see here I use my hairdryer in between, and I usually let my kids dry for me because that's their favorite task to do for me. Next is Mayco Stoneware's Raspberry Mist, and I do exactly the same process where I shake it up and dump it on, drizzle it around depending on how much color you want to show, which ones you want to be your primary colors and which ones you want to just kind of be accent colors. I feel like this one I kind of did equal parts of pink and purple and they turned out really cool. You will see at the very end I don't have pictures of these because I took them out of the kiln right before I went to a family event and somebody there claimed them, so I never actually got pictures of them. But you can see them coming out of the kiln in the previous one of these. I think I called it a Lisa Frank kiln opening because the cups really came out looking kind of like those Lisa Frank colors, which is really cool. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing exactly how they came out, go back to my other video, my previous kiln opening video, and check out how they came out because they're really cool. I actually think that I did 6 of these plates and only 5 of them got fired in the last kiln firing, so I have one more sitting on the shelf, which at some point in my next firing I'll put in, and I will probably be changing the thumbnail of this so you can actually see how that came out. I don't think I can edit the video after this to add it at the end, but I will change the thumbnail so you guys can see it. Next I use Moody Blue, which is my favorite stroke and coat. It comes out really dark blue and always shows through everything. I'm always really impressed with stroke and coat with how bright their colors stay and vibrant. No matter how many layers of other colors you add onto it, they really do pop. So you can see here I'm not using quite as much of this as I did the pink and purple because I feel like it will overwhelm it, and I think in the end it did show through a lot. And you can see here that I do use it a lot, so I'm running out of that one and I have to order some more. And these ones are much thicker than the other ones I used. They're kind of like gelatinous almost, like they're really thick. So I find that using my finger to kind of rub them in helps dry them out a little bit more, because otherwise they'll just kind of stay exactly where you put them and it takes a long time for them to dry, so you can't put the next layers on until you do that. Once your colored glazes are dried enough to add another glaze, I go ahead and add sandstone on top. I do it semi-thin. You can see this glaze is really thick, so I really try to spread it out so it's not too thick, but I do 2 good coats of it. And I try to make sure that the crystals are really well distributed as well, because once we put on the runnier glaze on top, it's nice that they're not all in one spot and that they run all over the plate, as well as the mugs that you'll see here in a minute. And at this point it's really just layering on the 2 coats of sandstone. You can enjoy the process or fast forward to the next step. After your 2 coats of sandstone are dry, then I go ahead and take Spectrum's Pearl White and shake that up really well, and then do 1 layer around the rim because it's a really super runny glaze. I'm not sure that it would matter very much if you added 2 coats or did the whole plate in Spectrum's Pearl White because it's not really going to run anywhere. But as you can see in the end of this video, if you put too much on your mugs, or I'm sure on the outside of bowls, it'll run right off. And if you haven't had to grind a kiln shelf before, it's really not fun. It's really smelly and dusty and takes a lot of time. On to the mugs. So for the mugs, it's pretty much exactly the same process. I skipped filming for time's sake for these ones. I just did the same thing where I drizzled on the pink and the purple by Mayco, and then I squeezed on some stroke and coat on here just to add a little bit of definition, a little bit of difference between colors. And then after that was dry, I did 2 layers of sandstone on the inside and the outside. You don't have to be as careful with getting the inside too layered up because it'll just catch on the inside, but if you get too much on the outside, then you will be running off onto your kiln shelves, which is what happened to me. You'll see here in a minute what my issue was. I think I put on too much of the Spectrum glaze that really makes it run. It's a really fluxy glaze, which means it has more of that glass-like substance in it, so it really turns kind of thin, and it turns all your glazes underneath it thin as well and makes them run. If you're having fun, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will be doing more tutorials, even if they are failures like this one, and posting them on here so you can see and learn how to do things and how to not do things as well. I went all the way to the bottom with this, and I realized after I started my kiln that I forgot to put them on cookies, which are like little shelf savers, little like placemats that go under them that can catch any drips so they don't ruin your shelves. My shelves weren't necessarily ruined because I had some kiln wash on there, but I just wish I would have put my cookies under there to catch my glaze. I make my cookies so that they have kind of a stilt in the middle and the cup sits on top of them and is raised up so that if it does drip, it drips down onto the cookie and it won't even get stuck to the cookie. So that makes cleanup a lot easier. But unfortunately for this one, I forgot it and it got glazed right to my kiln shelf. Another mistake I made here was putting way too much Spectrum Pearl White on. Like I said before, it is super runny and I should have just done it on the rim to give it a little bit of that extra movement. But here I am going almost halfway down the cup and most of the glaze runs right off at the end. You can see in my previous kiln opening video that they are truly glazed right onto the shelf and I have to rip them off, so that's kind of fun to see if you want to go back and watch. Otherwise, here they are in the end. The glaze is pretty amazing, but note to self, don't use so much Flex Glaze. Thanks for watching!